Honorable members, let us pray. Almighty God, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor and blessings as your servants whom you've been pleased to call the leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen. So welcome, honorable members. Before we read the order paper, let's usher members so that we can read the order paper. So welcome, honorable members, for today's morning session. Clerk, you may read the order in the business in the paper.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I have 2 communications to make this morning. The first communication is communication from the Department of Lands, from CC Lands, on the establishment of a tissue packing factory. Pursuant to Section 61(2) of the Fiscal and Land Use Planning Act of 2019 development, permission was granted to Ruweton International for the establishment of a hotel in mortgage area. The developer, however, went ahead and constructed a tissue packing factory. As a result, the permission was revoked as provided for in Section 67(1) of the same act. That notwithstanding, the developer, in collaboration with the department, undertook public participation. The participants were of the opinion that the developer is allowed to proceed with the development since the facility does not have any adverse environmental implication. The developer has resubmitted his development application for construction of tissue packing factory. This is therefore to inform you of the same with a view of getting concurrence from the House Committee on Land, Housing, Fiscal Planning and Human Settlement, from CC Brand Langat, CC in charge of lands, housing and fiscal planning. So Chair Lands, please note, this communication touches on your department, and I'm also aware that you're a resident of the same area. So after this session today in the morning, you will be able to look at this document and advise on the way forward, because it touches on issues to do with public participation and the factory. Secondly, honorable members, this morning we are privileged to also have some visitors from GIZ. They are paying us a courtesy call on development, on their partners with the county government of Kericho, and this morning after the session they want to have a discussion on renewable energy solutions within Kericho County. And so after this morning session, we'll give them a chance to give us a presentation on what GIZ is doing in Kericho. So this is a communication that the team is already here at the clerk's office, and they want to have a session with the members. Clerk, read the next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairman, Education. The Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity so that I table the report for a joint committee on education and child welfare with delegated legislation. Report on request for approval of prescribed bursary application form for financial year 2023-2024.
Thank you. Clerk, the next order.
Order number 7, statements.
All right. Chairman Lance. Welcome.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir, for the opportunity you have granted me, Mr. Speaker, so that I can give a report on the statement which was sought by Honorable Philip Mutai, representing the great people of Kipchimchim. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I read out the report, Mr. Speaker, allow me to use this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to sincerely send my heartfelt sympathies and condolences, Mr. Speaker, to the families, friends, relatives of one youth, Mr. Speaker, who was murdered in Kipsitet area, Mr. Speaker, in a cowardice and unfortunate manner, Mr. Speaker, by some criminal elements, Mr. Speaker, which has taken hostage in some of the centers in Soin Sikawet, Mr. Speaker. I want to say it's unfortunate that we lost a young life, a young soul, Mr. Speaker, over 5 brand youth, Mr. Speaker, was aspiring to be a leader in future. Mr. Speaker, again, Mr. Speaker, the youth was a breadwinner in a family, keeping in mind, Mr. Speaker, that he is an orphan. He lost his parents way back, and he was the only person, Mr. Speaker, who was a breadwinner to a family, Mr. Speaker. It's unfortunate that he lost his life in a very unfortunate manner, and we are on behalf of the great people of Chilchila, Mr. Speaker, I want to use this platform to sincerely send a word of condolences, Mr. Speaker, and to urge those in charge of security, Mr. Speaker, to take action, Mr. Speaker, and ensure that the criminal element are brought to book and face the full force of law, Mr. Speaker, and the justice be served to the family, Mr. Speaker, and the son, the only son of that gentleman, Mr. Speaker. He left a widow and a 4-year-old son, Mr. Speaker, who was graduating some 2 weeks ago in PP2. So it's a lots of sincere condolences, and may his soul rest easy in eternal peace. Mr. Speaker, allow me, Mr. Speaker, to draw your indulgence to start on page 4 or 2.0, the background information, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Philip Mutai raised a statement on 13 September 2023 on the floor of the House regarding the status of the number, location, and registered owners of cooperative societies plots in Kericho. You will see in Annex 1 a copy of statement which was raised by Philip Mutai. The statement entails the following, Mr. Speaker. The number of cooperative societies plots in Kericho County. Number 2, the location of the said plots in Kericho County. Number 3, are these said plots still available for cooperative societies? Mr. Speaker, the statement raised was committed to the Committee on Land, Housing and Fiscal Planning and Settlement on 13 September 2023 for further inquiry and reporting to the House within a period of 14 days. The committee thereafter engaged the Department of Land, Housing and Fiscal Planning and Settlement, who responded on 26th September 2023, and she will see on Annex 2 the response by the CC. Mr. Speaker, allow me to give the history of cooperative movement in Kenya. Cooperatives are people-centered enterprise owned, controlled, and run by and for their members to realize their common economic, social, and cultural needs and aspirations. Cooperatives bring people together in a democratic and equal way. The cooperative movement in Kenya is over 110 years old. The first cooperative society in Kenya, Lumbwa, was formed in a creative valley at a place called Kipkelion in 1908 by a white settler to market their dairy products. At that time, there was no specific cooperative legislation, and Lumbwa Cooperative Society was registered under the Business Practices Ordinance as legislated in Great Britain, adopted in India, and practiced in Kenya. The African smallholder farmers fought for formation of own cooperatives, and later in 1950, they were allowed to promote and register cooperatives for cash crops like coffee, pyrethrum. Consequently, at independence in 1963, there were 1,030 cooperative societies with 655 being active, with a total membership of 355,000 people. The cooperative societies were also addressing the farming needs, livestock requirement, and marketing channels for the product from the area under its operation. Cooperatives are regulated by laws enacted by Parliament to govern the operation of cooperatives. The laws requires the cooperative societies to incorporate the cooperative principle in their bylaws before registration. Mr. Speaker, you have been given, during our research, Mr. Speaker, we need to inform the honorable members to know the history of how cooperatives were formed, Mr. Speaker. And we are lucky, Mr. Speaker, that the first cooperative society was formed in Kipkelion Ward, area represented by the one senior member, Honorable Anthony Ruta, in a place called Lumbwa. Lumbwa, initially before Kipkelion was incorporated to Kipkelion, it used to be called Lumbwa, and that is the place where the white settler first settled in Kipkelion. In fact, Mr. Speaker, for purposes of records and information to this House, Mr. Speaker, Kipkelion West was among the first towns which were settled by the white settlers. And the reason why is because, Mr. Speaker, we believe that because it was the home of the first early man, Mr. Speaker. When you go down the slopes of Kipkelion, you will reach a place called Fortanan, whereby, Mr. Speaker, that is the first railway station which was established in Kenya, Mr. Speaker. And there is a place called Siwot, where it hosts the current museum. That is the home of the first early man. And Mr. Speaker, surprisingly, Mr. Speaker, you know it is sometimes good to inform this House. We have a rich history in that area, Mr. Speaker. The home of early man is in Kipkelion West. The home of the longest railway bridge in the East and Central Africa is found in Kipkelion, Mr. Speaker, a place called Sereng. Number two, Mr. Speaker, that area again hosts the longest railway tunnel spanning almost 1 kilometer, a tunnel. That is the only longest tunnel in East and Central Africa, and it is found in that place, Mr. Speaker. Yes, as that is not enough, Mr. Speaker, that area again is a home of natural spring water. There is a hot spring like water, Mr. Speaker, which has been since inception. There is a hot spring in a place called Machimoto, whereby you will find a bathroom, a natural bathroom for women and ladies and youths in that area. It's hot water always, ever. So those are, for purposes for information to this House, Mr. Speaker, I'll encourage the honorable members, Mr. Speaker, to visit, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there are a total of 345 registered cooperative societies in the county in which
Vice Chair Education, is it urgent or allow him to finish, then we can raise it later on? Okay, please inform me.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. As an historian, I will not allow honorable member to mislead the House. The longest tunnel of 57 kilometers, railway tunnel, is found in Gotthard, that is in Switzerland, and not in tunnel. So this is the longest.
All right, the Vice Chair, if I had the chair well, he meant East Africa. So your information is not accurate. So, Chair Langs, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you for protection, Mr. Speaker. I say in East and Central Africa. Yeah, so, Mr. Speaker, you know, I have that history in fingertips because, Mr. Speaker, that is my area of jurisdiction, and that is where I represent well, Mr. Speaker, and I must be factual. Mr. Speaker, again, that Kipkeli Advice is the home of all most cooperatives, Mr. Speaker, and we'll see it later. There are a total of 345 registered cooperative societies in the county, of which 190 cooperative societies are active, while 155 are dormant. You'll see on Annex 3. These cooperative societies covers all sectors of economy in the county as follows, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we had to do this research, Mr. Speaker, because the sorter of the statement, Mr. Speaker, wanted to know clearly, Mr. Speaker, and as a committee, Mr. Speaker, we need to provide a well research statement, Mr. Speaker, and we break down these cooperatives, Mr. Speaker, according to the affirmation, Mr. Speaker. Under coffee, Mr. Speaker, we have 136 cooperative societies in Kericho County, Mr. Speaker, which are dealing mostly and mainly on coffee. On dairy, Mr. Speaker, we found on our research that we have 30 cooperative societies which are dealing with cooperatives. And we have 3 cooperatives, Mr. Speaker, which are dealing with avocado, Mr. Speaker. Sugarcane, Mr. Speaker, we found that they have 125 cooperative societies which are mainly dealing with sugarcane. Bananas, Mr. Speaker, we have 3. Tea, we have 3. Beekeeping, we have 6. Financial, we have 12. Housing, we have 2. Transport, we have 20. And investment, Mr. Speaker, we have 5, Mr. Speaker. Principles of cooperatives movement. The principle of cooperative movement in Kenya are 1, Mr. Speaker. The principles are as follows, because they must be voluntary and open membership, Mr. Speaker. Number 2, democratic member control. Number 3, member economic participation. Number 4, autonomy and independence. Number 5, education, training and information. Number 6, cooperation among cooperatives. Number 7, concern for the community, Mr. Speaker. Those are the guiding principle guiding the movement of cooperatives in Kenya, Mr. Speaker. According to our response, Mr. Speaker, according to the records available in the Department of Lands, Housing and Physical Planning, the following plots were set aside for cooperative societies by the defunct local authorities. However, the committee noted that several cooperative societies have bought several plots and land across the county through their own arrangement, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the question which was sought by Honorable Philip Muntai, Mr. Speaker, was an ambiguous question, Mr. Speaker, because he asked the plots owned by cooperative societies, Mr. Speaker. So that is why we had to find, Mr. Speaker, although it was not conclusive, is because there is some cooperative, Mr. Speaker, which bought their own land and they have not registered, so we couldn't find in our records. But what we found, Mr. Speaker, are Social Farmers Cooperative Society, that is a society which was awarded by defunct local authority, which is situated in Social Market and is registered as plot number 2, measuring 0.045 hectares. It is found in Social Waldai Ward, area represented by one Honorable Senior Member Shelle. Number 2 is a Cheblanget Market Center and is registered as plot number CLT /21, measuring 0.0465 hectares. In Cheblanget, it is called Cheblanget Farmers Cooperative Society, which is found in Bureti Sub-County, Cheblanget Ward, area represented by Junior Member Honorable Kibet, Mr. Speaker. So Monyet Cooperative Societies, Mr. Speaker, in Kapkugerwe Trading Center is a registered plot Explode number 15.
There's a point of order.
Measuring.
Order, Chair Lance. Point of order by Chairman Rhodes. What is your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I was keenly reading this particular report, Mr. Speaker, and I was very happy. I'm seeing cooperatives indicated. But the one an honorable member calling our honorable member from Cheblanget Ward a junior member, Mr. Speaker, sir. In what category are we trying to place out honorable members so that we tell this house, a honorable house, that there is a junior honorable member, Mr. Speaker, sir? It is not in order, and the honorable member, Chair Land, should withdraw that statement and apologize, and called the honorable member to be Wayne Hillary, member of County Assembly elected by Cheblanget people, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair Rhodes. Chair Lance, please, as you proceed, refer members to the official names because any other calling may be interpreted otherwise. So please stand guided as you move on. Please indicate members' names or where they represent. Kindly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand guided, Mr. Speaker. You know, it was unfortunate for me to calling I small and Shirley older. You know, Mr. Speaker, there is some different naming, Mr. Speaker, but I am directed, Mr. Speaker. So, Kericho Somonyet Cooperative Society is in Kapkugret Credit Center and is registered as a plot number 15, measuring 0.045 hectares. That is in Kapkugret Ward, represented by Honorable Martin Cheruyat, Mr. Speaker, alias Bishop. Number 4, Mr. Speaker, Kericho District Cooperative Union has 3 plots, Mr. Speaker, in Kericho Town. One is the one which is adjacent to AFC building, measuring 0.0465 hectares. The second one is adjacent to the county slaughterhouse, Mr. Speaker, and the third one is one in Kapkatet Town, Mr. Speaker. That is, those are the plots owned by Kericho District Cooperative Union, and one is in Kapkatet, and the other 2 is in Kericho Town, Kapkugret Ward, which you represent, Mr. Speaker. Number 5, Chiporesha and Kericho Panua Sako jointly own a plot in Nyakacho. Number 6, Kipkelian District Cooperative Union, which is in Chilchila Ward, and popularly known as Kipkelian Coffee Mill. It owns a plot in Fortenant Center where the coffee mill is situated. Number 7, Massa Farmers Cooperative Society owns a plot in Ainamo Center, area represented by senior member Honorable Jerry Atpet. During our research, Mr. Speaker, we observed the following, Mr. Speaker. 1, that the cooperative movement is a driver of economy in our county. Number 2, most of the lands plots owned by cooperative society were allocated by different local authorities. However, the other cooperative societies have bought lands plots through their own arrangement, Mr. Speaker. Number 3, most of these plots are undeveloped. Number 4, there are a total of 345 registered cooperative societies in our county, of which 190 cooperative societies were active, while 155 are dormant according to our records in cooperative office in our county cooperative office, Mr. Speaker. Number 5, the cooperative societies have put up a modern building in Kericho Town, for instance, Cemented Plaza and Kenya Island Circle, Mr. Speaker, are some of the well-established, Mr. Speaker, cooperative societies which are within town, Mr. Speaker. Cemented, Mr. Speaker, is owned by a group of Wases, the old men, and they run through shares, Mr. Speaker, with house Mount Kenya and some other buildings, Mr. Speaker. It's along Kericho, Kisumu. The cooperative society Circle has mobilized savings to the tune of 15 billion, Mr. Speaker. That is according to our observation during our research and facts-finding mission, Mr. Speaker. Number 7, sub-cooperative societies are involved in value addition of their produce. For instance, Kabianga Dairies, Kipkelian Coffee Mill, Mr. Speaker, are some of the cooperative societies which have engaged in value addition, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, those are some of the few observations, although it's not limited, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is some of the recommendation which we recommended as a committee, and some of the recommendations are: 1, the department should fast track the development of a policy on the management of all county public land across the county, Mr. Speaker. Number 2, the department should maintain an up-to-date inventory of all land stock plots allocated to the cooperative societies across the county to prevent land cropping, Mr. Speaker. Like for instance, Mr. Speaker, there is a cooperative land in Kapkukere Rock, Mr. Speaker, called Songonyen. It has been cropped, Mr. Speaker, and it needs an intervention, and we will direct, we will engage the chairman cooperatives, Mr. Speaker, to take action over the same, because it has been cropped, but it is owned by the county government, Mr. Speaker. Number 3, the Department of Land, Housing and Fiscal Planning and Settlement should fence the county cooperatives society plots land to safeguard it from intruders, Mr. Speaker. Number 4, the department should fast track surveying and registration of all county cooperative societies plots land to avoid encroachment by unscrupulous individuals. Number 5, the last and not the least, adequate funding should be provided in the next budget to enable the department undertake surveying, registration, and fiscal planning of all public county cooperative societies plot across the county, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, acknowledgement, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to take this opportunity to thank all the members of the Land, Housing and Fiscal Planning and Settlement Committee for their input and valuable contribution during the committee's meeting. The committee also takes this opportunity to thank the officers of the Speaker and the clerk for their logistical support accorded to it, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I table Mr. Speaker, I'll take you through the annexures, Mr. Speaker. And annexure number 1 was the statement, Mr. Speaker. Annexure number 2 was the response. Annexure number 3, Mr. Speaker, is the status of exist cooperative societies in Kericho County, Mr. Speaker. You see, Mr. Speaker, it has been categorized according to the regions they are coming from, or their situation, Mr. Speaker. In that column, we have a sub-county, the number, the name of the cooperative societies, the status, and the ward which it's coming from, Mr. Speaker. Typically, unless, Mr. Speaker, we have after 23 is coming from Chilchila, Mr. Speaker, and from 23 all the way to 54, Mr. Speaker, is from Kunyak, and from 55, Mr. Speaker, all the way to 57 is from Kamasha, Mr. Speaker. From 58 all the way to 68, Mr. Speaker, is Kipkelian, from Kipkelian Ward, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, there is one for Colborowet is from Kamasha. When you go to Kipkelian East, Mr. Speaker, there is one from Tendeni, and then I think there is a 71. I think this comes from Kamasha. I think this are mixed up. And all the way, Mr. Speaker, I think it's not in order, but all those are the cooperative societies. There are some which are from Kipkelian East, Ainamoy. You see there is from Ainamoy, there is from Kapsaos, all the way to Kapsoit. You'll see through, that is from Ainamoy. And mostly from Ainamoy are dealing with dairy. Those from Kipkelian West are dealing with coffee mostly. And when you go to Bureti, it is from Kapkatet, Kishara, Cheblange, Litain, Tebesoni, Kemasot, Jeboin, all the way, Mr. Speaker. There is Retut, there is Kabianga, there is one from Waldai, Mr. Speaker. all the way, and then there is, I think, most which are dealing with sugar, at least which are from Sigawet, from Soliat, Soin, Sigawet, all the way, Mr. Speaker, Kablelartet, Mr. Speaker, until 308, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, the achievement, the summary, Mr. Speaker, registered cooperative societies are 308, active cooperative societies are 202. Achievement of the cooperatives, Mr. Speaker. The achievement of the cooperative have enabled the members of the cooperatives to market their produce, e.g. coffee, milk, and sugar, cane, and tea. Those are the achievements. Number 2, the SACCOs have mobilized savings to a tune of 15 billion, Mr. Speaker. That is a very interesting point to note. And number 3, the cooperatives have put up a modern buildings in Kericho, which I've enumerated before. And then an extra 4, Mr. Speaker, is the maps, Mr. Speaker, showing the location of those cooperatives, Mr. Speaker. So at your free time, members, you can go through, and Mr. Speaker, I think the sort of the statement we are furnishing with relevant information required. So on behalf of the Land, Housing and Physical Planning and Settlement Committee and Passion to Standing Order number 205, it is my pleasant duty to present this House Committee report on the number of location of cooperative societies plots in Kericho County for consideration and approval by this Honorable House, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, and that is on behalf of the Committee on Lands.
Thank you so much, Lance, for that presentation. Before I give to the owner of the statement, who raised the statement, to confirm that he has the question he addressed had been answered, I may want to give 1 or 2 chances to honorable members to react, because the cooperative societies are across the county, and there could be 1 or 2 reactions from members. So I'll give to 2 members, and then I'll give to Honorable Philip Mutai to give his remarks as we come to an end. So I can see Honorable Deputy Majority Leader, Fancy Korir. Welcome. Then I'll give to the Chief Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this chance. I just want to support the report, which is very elaborate, and thank you, Chair Lance, for giving us a very good report. I just wanted to add on your observation on the number 5. The cooperative have put buildings, modern building in Kericho Town, for instance, Sinendet Plaza and Kenya Highlands. And you forgot the giant from Kericho, and that is Ndege Chai Sacco, and it has Ndege Chai investment. In fact, it was the first Sacco to build a modern house in Kericho County. So I think you will add the name Ndege Chai within the giants. And again, this is a very good report, and let's encourage our people to be cooperators. This, remember, the cooperative is a conveyor to employment. It is a conveyor to the economic of this county. And if we encourage all the 300 and something cooperatives, I don't think someone will miss a job to do. So let's go and encourage all these members and encourage the cooperatives which are not functional. Many of them are not functional. So I think as members of County Assembly and owners of this, I know you are members of various SACCOs. So let's go and encourage them to grow and to save, because this is farmers-based. Most of them are farmers-based, and they are reachable to our people in the ground. So let's encourage them to work with the cooperatives. Otherwise, thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this chance. Thank you.
Honorable Chief Whip. Honorable Eric B. Okay, Chief Whip first, and then Eric B.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I happen to be a member of this Honorable Committee led by the Honorable Chairman, who just read the report. I want to say the report that was, the statement that was sought by the Honorable Philip Mutai is actually a very noble thing that actually should have happened before, because, Mr. Speaker, as it has been noted very clearly that in our county, there are only 3 cooperative societies that are fully registered, and as we speak, Mr. Speaker, most of these, the 3 associate, Cheblanget and Sonkonyet, which is actually in Kapkugerwet. Mr. Speaker, as we've been told by the Honorable Chairman, that most of the lands that are for these cooperatives have already been probably taken, probably by those people who are actually hanging around just to swindle government lands. And Mr. Speaker, in the observation, I think as a committee, we are actually going to swing into action, probably as been stated by the chairman, that this, Mr. Speaker, should all the cooperative societies, all ranging from dairy industry, tea industry, because like Finti and others are like for the coffee industry. So probably these are very important guardians, Mr. Speaker, leading towards the economy of this county. So with those several cooperative societies ranging to about 300 or 400, Mr. Speaker, this one should actually be enabled by being financed at all levels. I want to also thank the executive, probably the last financial year, Mr. Speaker, because in my own view, we also got to give those who are not able, probably those who are vulnerable. We gave tea seedlings, we gave others avocado seedlings, Mr. Speaker. We gave others beehives, Mr. Speaker. We gave others coffee seedlings, Mr. Speaker. So I think these will be a drivers towards the growth of our economy. And I think the best way, Mr. Speaker, to go for our country to grow should actually be driven by these cooperative societies. So in this subsequent budget, Mr. Speaker, I would request, as has been elaborated by the chairman, that we need to empower or to give them financial muscle, so that at least it can actually uplift. Because as we speak, Mr. Speaker, we also have that challenge in the issues ranging from revenue collection. So I think this would actually be part of those that will actually uplift our collection of revenue in cutting across our county. So with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, we need to enable all these cooperative societies by funding them. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Eric B, then I'll give to Honorable Philip Mutai so that we can proceed to the next motion, the next order.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity just to contribute on the report raised by Honorable Philip Mutai. Mr. Speaker, first of all, allow me to thank the Chairman, Lance, and Lance for the good work of which I am a member. He brought a very good report, which we have actually, I was very much impressed for this report. Mr. Speaker, I also want to dispute on what Honorable Fancy has raised. I think she's not vividly aware of the difference between the SACCO and the cooperative. So I think the one you talk of Chai SACCO that is a SACCO, and this we're talking of a cooperative. So she should be informed on the difference between the SACCOs and the cooperatives. And Mr. Speaker, I want to comment on the recommendation which has been put in place. First of all, Mr. Speaker, the policies which this House should adopt or come up with, so that there should be guidelines on the public lands across the county, which of course, Mr. Speaker, has as an honorable member legislature, just Mr. Speaker, we should come up with these policies, very good policies, which should be able to guide us on the management of all the county lands within across our county. Mr. Speaker, number 2, there should be a partnership. Of course, you are aware that we have
budgeting and you are funding all these cooperative societies within our county, Mr. Speaker. So there should be a great partnership so that we should not be having few lands which are owned by cooperatives, and as we are the co-funders, we are funding the cooperatives, and they don't have lands which are registered across the county. So it is prudent for us to have a co-funding so that as we give fund, the fund should also be able to count for it, Mr. Speaker. They should have also, a survey should be done with, of course, Mr. Speaker, the fifth recommendation was that we have some idle lands which has not been surveyed within this county. So as you should do a very great survey, that is by the executive, so that as you do oversight, we should be following up. You are very surprised, you are very shocked today because it's only 3 county cooperative which have land. And of course, we are aware that there are several lands which are idling, which has never been surveyed. So I want to recommend and support the report by Honorable Chair, and to ensure also, Mr. Speaker, that the implementation committee led by the one and the only BHD, Mr. Speaker, should be able to follow up whether this recommendation has been implemented or not, because we should not be singing and dancing here and making a very good recommendation and there is no follow-up. So I think you should be able to follow up and to give us also a report within 1 year or 3 months. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this chance. Thank you.
So, Honorable Philip Mutai, you can give your action so that we can end on this debate. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. First, I want to congratulate the Chairman Lance and his committee for responding to my statement in a record time. Secondly, I want to congratulate them for the detailed and comprehensive report. As a committee, I will take the recommendations seriously and advise the department on the same. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to urge the honorable members to be visiting these cooperative societies within their ward and encourage them on the need to work hard, because cooperatives is the way to go in terms of agriculture and other businesses. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you so much, Honorable Philip Mutai. Clerk, read the next order.
Order number 8, motion by Chairman, Education and Child Welfare Committee.
Vice Chair Education, you can proceed with the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for this opportunity again so that I can go through this motion, Joint Committee on Education and Welfare, Child Welfare and Delegated Legislation. Mr. Speaker, mandate of the committee, I will go through. The Committee on Education and Child Welfare is established pursuant to Kericho County Assembly Standing Order 194, which highlights the subject areas to be all matters related to pre-primary education, village polytechnics, home craft centers, and children's welfare, includes child care facilities. The committee leadership, the Committee of Education Child Welfare was constituted in February 2023, and the membership of the committee as follows: Honorable Jerry Otbe, the chairman; Honorable Matthew Korir, vice chair; Honorable Dr. Naman Rob, member; Honorable Irene Langat; Honorable Philip Mutai, member; Honorable Valin Chebogan; Honorable Kibet Posbo; Honorable Doreen Keino; Honorable Gladys Bet, members. Delegated Committee, of County Legislation Committee, we have members here: Honorable David Martin, Chairman; Honorable Edna Tony, Vice Chair; Honorable Fancy Korir; Honorable Pafina Sarem; Honorable Vincent Koske; Honorable Pilam Noela; Honorable Isaac Makter; Honorable Kiproti Cherogony; Honorable Masi Kikonyo, members. The background, Mr. Speaker, sir, the reason why we had to have the joint meeting is to request the members on delegated so that they can approve our bursary form. This is the agenda of that discussion, Mr. Speaker. Bursary is monetary award made by any educational institution or funding authorities to individual or groups. It is usually awarded to enable a student to attend school, universities, or college when they might be able to due to financial challenges faced by their parents or guardian. Some awards are aimed to encourage specific groups or individuals to acquire educational by paying full fees or partial payment through bursary from support from individual cooperative institution or any other source. Mr. Speaker, sir, the county government of Kericho made a legislation on bursary in 2014 and was enacted to Honorable House and been amended over time, accommodate other legislation like PFM Act 2012 and County Government Act 2012 on separation of powers. In this regard, the County Assembly, Mr. Speaker, are driving mandates from the Bursary Act, which states the source of fund for the fund shall consist of at least 2% of the county revenue fund should be voted by the County Assembly for the purpose, meaning that, Mr. Speaker, during our budget committee, we normally consider 2% of all the budget. Any gift, donation, grants, and endowments, made to fund. 2, they shall be paid out of the fund any expenditures approved by the board incurred in connection with the administration of the fund, which shall not exceed 3% of the total funds. So after allocating 2%, Mr. Speaker, the total allocation now we will deduct 3% to cater for the administration cost. Mr. Speaker, the County Executive Committee member in charge of Education, Youth Affairs, Sport, and Culture and Social Services wrote to the County Assembly seeking approval of bursary form in the prescribed manner to reflect the unity across the county. One, we have the Annex 1 and Annex 2. For honorable members with the report, you can see we have the Annex 1 and Annex 2, whereby we have the bursary application form 2023. But in that, Mr. Speaker, let me go to 3. Committee observation. The committee observes that the application form entails the following: personal information of the applicant, institution details, C, family information, D, ward bursary committee stock panel. In the last bursary disbursement, some students experienced challenges of delay and other failed to receive their funds despite being the beneficiaries from the respective wards. Number 2, in the previous disbursement, the Department of Education disbursed 167 million to beneficiaries across the county, where all remitted through real-time cross settlement, that is RTGS, and electronic fund transfer, that is the EFT. The administration fee for the bursary is 3% of the total allocation, amounting 60,000, which 40 is committee and 20% is for office operation under the office of the MCA or the office of the ward administrator. The bursary board has not solicited for any funds apart from the appropriation from the county assembly through their part of the mandate is solicit funds as per the Bursary Act 4.1. The application forms will be providing the platform for the uniformity. Mr. Speaker, sir, this time round we had a uniform form that cut across the whole wards that will not even allow any other alteration. That's why this form was subjected to the Committee on Delegated Legislation, so that in case of any ward altering the form, that will not be approved, since that the approved one is here today, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, committee recommendation, that is under 4. The House approved the bursary application form year 2023-2024. The County Assembly should consider amending the Bursary Act, including the ECD ward supervisors as one of the Bursary Committee members to replace ward administrators. I think that is also a suggestion from the honorable members that ward administrators should be replaced by the ECD ward supervisors as one of the Bursaries Committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is a user department. If it is a user department, we have employed one ECD supervisor in every ward. So we are suggesting that as the committee, that if we can amend the act so that we replace the ward administrator with the ECD supervisor to be signing on behalf of the department in our wards. And then number 3, Mr. Speaker, the county executive member in charge of education, youth affairs, culture and social service, and surely timely of disbursement of bursary. This one, Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to confirm to honorable members here that we have a lot of challenges even now that we are giving out these forms, that many people are asking. We filled the form the other time, but we didn't get the bursary. So this time round, the county CC has confirmed to us that she will be doing this disbursement on real time. The county executive committee member in charge of education, youth affairs, sports, culture and social services should employ all possible ways. This is another advice that we are giving also to the CC in charge of education and the Department of Education, including the Bursary Board, that if there is any other method outside this RTGS and EFT, Mr. Speaker, if they can use, in remitting funds to institution not limited to real-time cross settlements, that is RTGS, and electronic funds transfer EFT to avoid instances of unflowing funds in the learning institution by contracting service providers like Chief Wells, contracting service providers like Chief Wells to dispute checks to institutions where beneficiaries are learning. This one is just but a recommendation. It's not that specific that we must recommend the Chief Wells, but the county executive should consider looking for the a service provider who can deliver the list of the beneficiaries to each and every institution. Mr. Speaker, sir, the administration fee of 3% need to be enhanced to cater for Bursary Committee allowance and 60,000 to be paid to the Bursary Committee. Remember, Mr. Speaker, that we have been receiving these 60,000 through the ward administrator. And in this case, Mr. Speaker, we are recommending that the 60,000 should be paid directly to the ward committee so that they can share and cater for their expense during the vetting and everything, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, another recommendation, that is recommendation number 6, the Bursary Board should consider soliciting for more funds as the Bursary Act number 1B. Mr. Speaker, since inception of this Bursary Act, the Bursary Board has never even struggled to convince even one of the investors in this county, Mr. Speaker, and they have never even thought of having other source of raising this Bursary kitty, Mr. Speaker, but they are only waiting for us to budget in this county assembly. Meaning that, Mr. Speaker, that we are recommending today that this Bursary Board should look for other avenues where that we can get bursary, we can make sure that this kitty can work even minus our budget, Mr. Speaker, or in addition to our budget. Mr. Speaker, acknowledgement. The committee wishes to thank the office of the Speaker, the clerk of the county assembly for the necessary support extended to it in execution of this mandate. Mr. Speaker, we want to thank the office and we want to thank the office of the clerk for even providing the good secretariat and clerks to our committee so that we managed to have this better report today, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is my pleasure, duty, and pursuant to standing order number 194 to present the report on approval of bursary application form 2023 for financial 2023-2024. Mr. Speaker, if you can allow me just to touch on this bursary form, Annex 1 and 2. Honorable members, that is the last page. If you have the report, That is the last page. For this year, Mr. Speaker, we managed that the Department of Education, under leadership of the CC in charge of education, managed to produce 30 forms, Mr. Speaker, and all forms were signed by one person, that is CC in charge of education. So we have the ward. This is the indication that we have. We have the ward, we have the sublocation, we have the village resident polling station. Reason of us putting this sublocation, village resident polling station, Mr. Speaker, sir, in case of other wards, like my ward, Mr. Speaker, Chepsoon ward, for example, Mr. Speaker, Kap Kugerwet ward, Mr. Speaker, Kipcheber ward, Mr. Speaker, where you are the area MCA there, Mr. Speaker. Even Cheptoro yesterday, Tutan Kapsuster ward, Mr. Speaker. Many people are doing double entries, Mr. Speaker. So the reason is that we put this polling station and village or resident, it will help us when we are following up when they are claiming that they have not received their funds, Mr. Speaker. In this case, Mr. Speaker, when they do double entries, it is now our role as the honorable members to go and visit even the department. If that person is coming from my ward, Mr. Speaker, there is no need for an honorable member from Kapkugerwet or from Kipchebor to be charged from the kitty of that side, Mr. Speaker. So this one will allow us to remove the double entries, Mr. Speaker. Personal information, this is just part of for the applicant, full name of the student, parents, guardian name, attached copies of the ID. This one meant, Mr. Speaker, I think for my ward, this is a challenge, and many other wards, Mr. Speaker, where parents are going around looking to photocopy and attach the IDs, Mr. Speaker. But in this case, it is a discussion between here today, Mr. Speaker, that if the honorable members will agree with us that the attachment of this national ID and even the attachment of the report form, Mr. Speaker, can be look in a way where we can subject to be an easy way, Mr. Speaker. We have the parents to guardian phone number. The reason of the phone number of the parents, Mr. Speaker, we might not need the student or the applicant's phone number, Mr. Speaker, because at some point we might not be able even to be reaching this student. So it is fair enough that the department needs to get the phone number of the parent, so that when we are following up for the bursary, some, you know, Mr. Speaker, the economy of this country at the moment is not doing good. So some will be doing some fishy things on these things, Mr. Speaker, in this application form. So the parent's phone number is very important. Institution details, Mr. Speaker, and this is where also last disbursement we had a lot of challenges, Mr. Speaker. Number of schools, Mr. Speaker, are opening more than 5 accounts, and they are giving to a student or beneficiaries different accounts, Mr. Speaker. So the reason of this, I instituted this is that the name of the school, college, stroke, university, where applicant is studying. School bank account. This one is very key, Mr. Speaker, for even the applicants. Name, branch, school account number, Mr. Speaker. School account number, Mr. Speaker. We have a very good example in last disbursement, Mr. Speaker, where a school principal is opening a SACCO account for the school, Mr. Speaker. When we channel the money to the school, there was that thing that there is a claim or complaint from the parents that we have not yet received our bursary, because the school had a different intention with what we had given them, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, we have the year of completion. Year of completion means that you are in Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, and you are in first year, second year, third year, and fourth year. Mr. Speaker, we have the school official contact mobile number. The reason why we want the school official contact number, Mr. Speaker, is for us or for the department or for the board and the bursary committee in our wards, Mr. Speaker, in case of any correction that is need to be there for the institutional details, Mr. Speaker, it is easy for the committee to call that institution and find ways instead of calling the parents and calling the applicants, Mr. Speaker. Family information, Mr. Speaker, are both parents alive, are a single parent. If one of the parents or both parents are deceased, Mr. Speaker, attaching death certificate. In this case, Mr. Speaker, we are talking about the orphans. And this one we had to discuss with the department. If it is possible, it is well known in a village, when you ask applicants to bring a death certificate for the parents, is that that is not in order, Mr. Speaker. For our case, it's like making that applicant to feel that we want to prove that they don't have parents, Mr. Speaker. But in normal cases, our committees in our wards, Mr. Speaker, understand matters of us, Mr. Speaker. So this one, I will also seek the honorable members here today that if we can do something in the next form to look better and to look easy for the applicant, it will be good for us as the county assembly and the county government. If one of the parents, okay, what is your family income? This one is just but to allow the committee of bursary committee to understand whether that the family has capacity, they are needy or they are not needy, Mr. Speaker. Schools to colleges, that is number 5, Mr. Speaker, fee balance arrears and the student attach the current fee structure. When we say attach the current fee structure, Mr. Speaker, or attach the current fee statement, in some cases, Mr. Speaker, when students are sent home for fees, Mr. Speaker, they start leaflet, or they start leave out that they are being given in school, Mr. Speaker. It is not necessary that these students attach their report form, Mr. Speaker. You attach any evidence to show that you have a fee arrears of how much. Have you benefited from bursary, county government, CDF, NAV, ministry? This one, Mr. Speaker, will allow other members and will allow other beneficiaries also to be included. In case that we have one student who is in a day school, Mr. Speaker, for example, and he or she has get a bursary for CDF, for example, 5,000, Mr. Speaker. In all practice, and all of us understand that a day school is at tune of 15,000 or 10,000 at the moment. If he or she has been given an opportunity to get a CDF of 5,000, it is this is the time the committee will say, let's give this one 3,000 or 4,000 so that the other person can be accommodated in the next application, Mr. Speaker. Application siblings in the educational institute. This is just for the requirement. Confirmation, sorry, Mr. Speaker. Confirmation by the chief. Confirmation by the chief, that is just for the signature that is required. And you remember, Mr. Speaker, in this county, we have number of chiefs, we have number of polling, we have number of sub-location and location, Mr. Speaker. When you are requested that you need a confirmation from assistant chief, Mr. Speaker, even in every recruitment, I've been seeing many people are complaining that why do we need to look for a chief, Mr. Speaker. This is to allow us even to confirm that you are coming from a certain area. This is administration, Mr. Speaker, and we don't need to avoid by not allowing them. For official use only, Mr. Speaker, that is what bursary committee panel. Remember, Mr. Speaker, we have 9 members in panel committee, bursary committee. Bursary awarded cash, bursary not awarded with a reason. So this one, Mr. Speaker, will allow even honorable members to explain themselves. You know, honorable members, we are not part of this process, Mr. Speaker. At some point, we are being asked why you are not, you just awarded me, I was not given bursary. This one is where you can explain yourself to the honorable members or the resident of your ward, because the reason here is being indicated by the bursary panel committee. We have the chairperson who is elected from the members, and then we have the ward administrator being the secretary. Official word stamp. Official word stamp, Mr. Speaker. This one, in some cases, some ward have developed a stamp for bursary committee or office of the MC. So in this case, Mr. Speaker, we will talk as the honorable members elected to see whether that we will use a uniformity of the bursary stamp. But in case of that, Mr. Speaker, different wards have a different ways of doing things, Mr. Speaker. With this regard, Mr. Speaker, I want to say thank you for that opportunity that you've given unto me, Mr. Speaker, to represent my chair and also the committee members. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Who is your seconder?
Okay, Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to welcome Chairman Delegated Legislation to second.
Honorable David Maritim, the floor is yours for the secondment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity to second the motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to thank the committee for doing good job, both at the Education Committee and in the Delegated Committee. So, and I want to beg this Honorable House to approve this form of bursary. It is well detailed and it is inclusive of everything needed. I hope the Honorable Member, Vice Chair Education, has elaborated well that this form is well designed to accommodate everybody, including the orphans. So I second the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
So thank you, honorable members. I now propose the question that this House approves the report of the Joint Committee of Education, Child Welfare, and Delegated Legislation on the request for approval of the prescribed bursary application form for financial year 2023-2024. The floor is now open for your contribution. I'll start with Honorable Ragon, and then I'll give to other members. And just use 1 or 2 minutes so that we save time for everybody to contribute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's time to support the report. And while I do so, Mr. Speaker, I want to support the Vice Chair on a number of proposals. And I might request that we will even further submit some changes. Mr. Speaker, one, if you look at the form, first of all, it is a major improvement from the previous. One, we do not need to have a kid go to that college or high school for the form to be stamped. It was tedious. As it is now, it is easy because you simply fill the form, the chief stamps it, take it to the nearest office. I support the substitution of the word administrator as the secretary of the committee, and we have the supervisor, the ECD supervisors on board. The reason is, Mr. Speaker, we've been having issues with these ward administrators. They frustrate even the MCS. And the ward administrator has a clear job. What we want to do, because bursary is from the education department. So the user department is education. We want to have an education official administering this. Then number 2, Mr. Speaker, I want to raise something on the administration fee. Mr. Speaker, you are aware, we have up to 5 million shillings going to administration fee. Mr. Speaker, what goes to this committee is only 60,000. Times 30 words, that is 1.8 million. The remaining close to 3-point-something million remains with the department. I want to give you a simple statistics. In my ward, we decided that every village produce a committee member for easier to identify the beneficiaries. So I have up to 133 villages. So 133 committee members. And in these 133 committee members, the 9, you have the ward administrator out of that is the 8. So it is 132. Mr. Speaker, when you have these 60,000 shared among the 9 committee members, it's unfair. It doesn't, we have a number of these committees who are doing a very good job down there, and we've got to remunerate them. We've got to appreciate them. I propose that even as we amend this, let us also consider deploying more money to the subcommittee level, and we have the least amount of money remain with the department. Because we have a huge amount with the department, and we've never been explained what the money will do. And then number 2, Mr. Speaker, I have a simple proposal. It is true, the committee, and I sat with them, we raised a number of challenges. Up to date, we have some beneficiaries from the previous bursary location that have not been given the money, especially those in KMTCs. And the explanation the department gives us is they paid the KMTC main account, and then the KMTC main account is yet to transfer the money to the various KMTC. Mr. Speaker, we want to have a clear way of channeling this money to those beneficiaries. I still have a student in KMTC, Kendu Bay, who is yet to get the 6,000 allocated to her, and it's unfortunate. And then the last one, Mr. Speaker, I'm happy for the Department of Education, the committee proposal that we need to increase this allocation from the current 168 million to something good. The reason is, Mr. Speaker, education is a right. And the legal officer here, Sharon, will tell you, in law, there is what we call jural correlatives. Where there is a right, it is the duty of the state to ensure this right is provided for. Why I'm making this, Mr. Speaker, is when we gave out the first amount of bursaries to these wards, first of all, there is total happiness. I've since realized we have many more deserving cases that requires to be supported, and even whatever we're giving is sufficient. So my proposal to the members of the budget committee and even the county government of Kericho, let us work on a serious strategy. We raise more money so that we allocate more to this bursary fund for us now to have at least most of these kids get their education uninterrupted because we have facilitated them. With all this, Mr. Speaker, I support the report, and I thank the committee for doing the marvelous job. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable President Ngetich, next. I'll just take a minute so that all the members can have a chance to contribute before we put a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support the motion by Chair Education, Child Welfare, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I support this report, Mr. Speaker, because of some reasons, Mr. Speaker, whereby there is a great improvement in this time, disbursement of the bursary, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, initially, they used to disperse bursary through checks, Mr. Speaker, and you know how they swindled some funds sometimes, Mr. Speaker, whereby we stayed 2 years before solving the stalemate. So, Mr. Speaker, the department saw it with their wisdom to use the real-time, which is RTGS, Mr. Speaker. Well, the only challenge, Mr. Speaker, which I'm seeing they have corrected, Mr. Speaker, or Mr. Speaker, is the use of service providers, Mr. Speaker. Immediately the money has been dispatched to various institutional accounts, Mr. Speaker. In the same speed the money is using, Mr. Speaker, we need to define a way of remitting the list directly, Mr. Speaker, to the school, Mr. Speaker. And I told Mr. Speaker, the drafters of this form, Mr. Speaker, will have included one on the institutional requirement, number 8, official school Gmail or email address, Mr. Speaker, so that immediately they click the money to the account, Mr. Speaker. At the same speed, the list of all the beneficiaries, Mr. Speaker, will be sent directly through the email, Mr. Speaker, to the school, to the institution, Mr. Speaker, so that it can be easy, Mr. Speaker, so that only the service providers can collect the receipts only, Mr. Speaker. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, at this era, Mr. Speaker, where we have gone electronically, Mr. Speaker, we need to save on the cost of administration. So instead of involving the service providers or contracting to take huge sum of money, we can use the electronic way, even through the official contact, which should indicate with WhatsApp. You can send through WhatsApp again, Mr. Speaker, so long as it is provided, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, those are the things which we will add during the amendment of the Act, Mr. Speaker. And again, Mr. Speaker, on the amendment of the Act, Mr. Speaker, there is some loopholes we need to adjust, Mr. Speaker. The formation of County Bursary Board, Mr. Speaker. You see, the executive formed the bursary board without the approval of the County Assembly. And that is not right, Mr. Speaker. The formation of the County Bursary Committee should be appointed by the governor and approved by the what? County Assembly, Mr. Speaker, so that we can vet and get individuals who are fitting the position, Mr. Speaker. Last but not the least, Mr. Speaker, is the committee should be, Mr. Speaker, or every ward, Mr. Speaker, every ward committee, Mr. Speaker, should be provided with a laptop, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, right now, Mr. Speaker, there is some institution which have not closed school, and the students are still in institution. How can those students fill those forms, Mr. Speaker? So we need to give or to provide a laptop to every bursary committee so that the form can be sent electronically through a PDF form they fill and they send directly through PDF form to the ward bursary so that it can be expended easily. So that this bursary, because it's a right to reach every individual without discrimination, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, you cannot let a student from Mombasa to travel all the way to your ward to come and fill the bursary and go back, Mr. Speaker. So I think, Mr. Speaker, they should be feeling at the comfort of their soul, Mr. Speaker. So those are some of the issues, Mr. Speaker, that I'm seeing it need to be added. Again, Mr. Speaker, because of the time, is that this house should pass a resolution for donation. Mr. Speaker, we should help these investors who are investing in our county, like the Rice Cement, like the Kipchimat, like the file, all the investors, Mr. Speaker. We should set a donation kitty whereby we pass a legislation whereby they donate a certain percentage and to be used to assist in bursary, Mr. Speaker. The reason why I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, is because I want to oppose the narrative which has been said by my colleague, Honorable Rogon, that the bursary should be increased. No, it should not be increased because the bursary allocation is not a default function, Mr. Speaker. According to the fourth schedule, Mr. Speaker, the function which are default are only early childhood education, but not bursary, because bursary is domicile in the CDF, Mr. Speaker. So we are doing double allocation, Mr. Speaker. And you see, the members of parliament have no kind words on us, on the roles we are doing, Mr. Speaker. We were on Monday, Mr. Speaker, with our area member of parliament. And he was criticizing us that we are not doing our role, Mr. Speaker, and pushing that I'm not doing this because it is not ours, Mr. Speaker. And now here we are comfortably campaigning to allocate more funds from our kitty to support their function, Mr. Speaker. I think we need to seek a way of getting extra money away from the from our money, so that we use to give as a bursary. We should not come from our resources, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to end there, Mr. Speaker, and say, Mr. Speaker, another thing which the committee should adopt is to design a different form for the less privileged, like the orphans, Mr. Speaker. You know, the reason why we are doing bursary, Mr. Speaker, is to give to the less fortunate in the society, Mr. Speaker. But you know, in Kenya, we have one tentative, Mr. Speaker. Once there is a free money, everybody becomes poor. So to avoid that, Mr. Speaker, when the form is indicated, it is for orphans, Mr. Speaker. When you are not an orphan and you feel some kick, Mr. Speaker. So we need to add another form which is strictly for orphans so that it can assist, so that money can reach to those people whom we are targeting. Otherwise, I support this report and I support the committee.
I'll give to Honorable Anthony Ruto, and just restrict yourself with the time so that we do not diverge more on this issue than expected.
Honorable Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity so that I may also support the approval of bursary application form for the financial year 2023-2024. First, Honorable Speaker, sir, allow me to appreciate our predecessors for coming up with this bursary act. We all know that even though it is not our mandate as a county to give bursaries to our needy students, we know our parents are going through economic hardships as far as catering for the school fees of their children. So it was prudent for our county to cushion our parents from these problems of paying school fees. Next, Honorable Speaker, sir, I want to appreciate the Department of Education. We are all aware that 2021-2022, we had a lot of problems in bursary. And I want to appreciate the department for streamlining the issues of bursary in our county. For example, in last financial year, we were able to give out bursary without any problem, even though there were some problems here and there, especially in disbursement of bursaries to institutions. But however, they are able to try their best to see to that needy students were able to access bursary. Honorable Speaker, sir, I want again to appreciate the department by coming up with a very simplified form. This form can be easily understood, and also it can be filled with a lot of ease. I want to disagree with Emeritus for suggesting that we should come up with another form for the ovens. This one is self-explanatory. Honorable Speaker, sir, so I want to say that we should adopt this form. I was only looking at 1, 2, 3 things that need to be improved. For example, there is no need of telling parents to come to attach this form with death certificates. This one will make parents again, will also disadvantage on parents who may not be having death certificates, even though these children do not have parents. Some death certificates may have been misplaced. So I want to suggest that students should not be denied bursaries because of lack of death certificates, Honorable Speaker, sir. And also national identity cards. So this one we should, if possible, we should overlook this one so that no student can be denied bursary, to access bursary because of lack of death certificate and national identity card. Another very important thing, again, Honorable Speaker, sir, I want to concur with the honorable members that ward supervisors can take the place of the ward administrators. As the saying goes, the shoe wearer knows where the shoe pinches most. If we can incorporate ward supervisor, this one can do better than the ward administrator. So I want to concur with the honorable members, those ones who have just spoken, that ward administrator should be replaced by the ward supervisor. When it comes to facilitation of the bursary committee, I want to agree again with Honorable Rogon by suggesting that we should facilitate all committees. Bursary committees, every village is represented by a bursary committee. These people also should be facilitated because they come all the way from their homes to a central place so that they can be able to do the work of the bursary. So I want to suggest that these people should also be facilitated so that at the end of the day, they will feel to be part of that particular committee. This money should not be taken only by the 9 people, 10 people. The ward bursary committee alone. They should, the village representatives should also be appreciated by being facilitated. And another thing again, Honorable Speaker, sir. I was seeing, yes, I'm about to conclude, sir.
Yeah.
I was seeing that the ward administrator is taking 20,000 shillings out of 60,000 shillings. I was wondering, the forms in my ward, I was the one who photocopied bursary forms. What else did the ward administrator did so as to be entitled to 20,000 shillings? That one beats common sense. So there is no need of giving ward administrator 20,000 shillings. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, sir, when it comes to remittance of checks to institutions, last time, Honorable Speaker, sir, checks went to school without the schedules. Without the schedules. So this time round, checks should be accompanied with schedules so that at the end of the day, the institution should be able to know the beneficiaries of this fund. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, sir, we should also stick to time frame. This one is a problem within our wards and also within the county. So I want to appeal to ourselves as ward representative to adhere to time frame, and also county bursary committee should adhere to also to time frame so that at the end of the day, funds can reach school in time. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. So I'll give the one last speaker, judging by the mood of the House. I'll allow us members to conclude on this matter because of time is far much gone. And I want to give to Honorable Martin, and then I will give to move the motion to reply so that we can conclude. So and you just take less than 2 minutes, Honorable Martin.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity, and by extension to the people of Kapugere, to I represent, to support this motion and the approval of this prescribed bursary application form. Mr. Speaker, my attention is drawn to the way of remitting these bursary funds to school. I'm particularly concerned about our last remittance to schools, where some of those needy students actually never got those funds on time. At least now we are seeing that the department is employing this other way of remitting these funds, and it will really help actually in making sure that the students, these needy students, get this money in time by actually using this real-time post settlement and the EFT. One of the speaker, last time I heard many students actually complaining about coming to my office, complaining about not receiving those money or funds in school. But at least I'm happy that the new ways have been employed here. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, I want to comment on this, the increase, proposal to increase this bursary fund, especially from the private people. I know there are so many well-wishers who would have wanted to give in order to assist and to help the needy students around in our society. So it's up to us as the Honorable House to come up with the right policies, so that also as they give, there is a way guidelines on how to actually do the same. I know these other big organizations, though we may not say they give bursaries, but they have their own ways and guidelines of how they assist the community in terms of maybe paying for the needy school fees. We also have to be sure or come up with policies or guidelines that actually will make not only investors but also other people, other well-wishers willing to assist this in providing or putting their resources in this kitty bursary, so that at least we get something more to help our students. Otherwise, one last thing, Honorable Speaker, is that the issue of death certificate. Death certificate, I know we have bursary committees, and these bursary committees, they can identify these students, Honorable Speaker, that this one is an one, this one is not an one. Maybe by putting that, they should also provide this copy of death certificate. Also, we are making it a little bit hard for some of them. So I think my proposal also is that the committees that are in place can identify, and even the chief also knows this because they come from around those villages. So I think it will be easier for them. Otherwise, I stand to support, and thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
So thank you so much, honorable members. And now give a chance to the mover of the motion to reply. And as it comes, I can see Honorable Gilbert Ngetich an issue, but allow me to. Okay, as booked. So, Chair, Vice Chair, please have a seat. I'll give to Honorable Gilbert Ngetich. It's like he has a burning issue, but I'll just give you a minute because you might be having a very important contribution. Don't want to look you out. Welcome.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I even concurred that you give the Vice Chair to give a reply. I think what I wanted to say has been highlighted by Honorable Martin, that there is that side of provision of certificate of, is it death certificates? Some families which are vulnerable may not be able to provide the same because of their situation of living. So because we have the committee, ward committee, I think that it will be prudent that be the one to check and confirm whether really these children comes from such families. And Mr. Speaker, I think for the first time, you also remember, Mr. Speaker, we were there last time, we've never discussed a form, bursary form in a house like this. So let me applaud the committee, which is being led by Honorable Cheriot Boat, MCI Namoi Ward, and Honorable Matthew, Vice Chair, and the team. It is a prudent way we can discuss a form like that, because we last time we were complaining many times entailed in that particular form, and we were really saying we wished we were supposed to be giving an intake as to the formation of that particular form. So let me just appreciate the committee, and let us proceed this way, and we'll be actually giving a form which will be friendly to our electorates. Thank you.
So thank you. So Vice Chair, as you come, I want you to refer you to the form on page 1, and I was hoping that members will notice this in the form. I'm not the student of English, but I've seen some typo error. Refer you to the spelling of guardian is not done well. The other one is studying, the spelling, and lastly deceased. So this form once it goes to public with those such kind of small typo errors, I think I want to urge as you respond, be very keen also on those ones, because these are public documents which will go to across the country, and those kind of small typos will not be good for the institution. So Vice Chair, as you reply, please note that and ensure that those are corrected as I've noted. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity again so that I can reply. Before that, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for such a comment. I think, you know, in these offices that we have, Mr. Speaker, we normally work with the secretaries, and sometimes we might overlook something. So, Mr. Speaker, we will make sure it is corrected to the right English words and grammar, Mr. Speaker, and we avoid a lot of typical errors, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to thank the honorable members, and before we are done, Mr. Speaker, I want to inform the honorable members also, since that we did our last disbursement, we might be having balances for each and every ward, and this is the time also you add on your allocation, so that we, before you discuss, you consider that adding the balances. So one, we will ensure that you get the balances for each and every ward, so that you will consider in disbursement, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want also to thank the honorable members for mentioning the timelines and the deadlines that we have stated in our forms. Mr. Speaker, I want to help the honorable members also to ensure that the area MCS offices, Mr. Speaker, work closely with the committees, so that at the end of the day, you will not, the committee will not work on their own. So kindly make sure that the PA, your personal assistant, and each and every staff in your office will work closely with the committee. Because sometimes, Mr. Speaker, if you can just confirm that we have typical error here, Mr. Speaker, what about our parents who are filling these forms? So it is good also that Office of the MCA will assist the applicants to ensure that every detail is entered in correct manner, Mr. Speaker. For honorable member who has just mentioned that it is not a default function, Mr. Speaker, I want to say, Mr. Speaker, will be protected by the Act. And in some areas, Mr. Speaker, this is the only work that we have, especially in my ward. When you say these bursaries should be not be administered in the county government, Mr. Speaker, I think it's just, in other words, it's telling me, prepare to be at home in 2027, Mr. Speaker. But nevertheless, Mr. Speaker, we will do service to the area residents who have just sent us here, Mr. Speaker. In reply, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the honorable members for supporting this report on approval of the prescribed bursary application form for financial year 2023-2024. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for such an opportunity.
So, honorable members, I now rise to put the question that this House approves the report of the Joint Committee of Education, Child Welfare, and Delegated Legislation on the request for approval of prescribed bursary application forms for financial year 2023-2024. Will as many of that opinion say aye? And will as many of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. So, honorable members, there being no other business, this assembly stands adjourned until today at 2:30 p.m. Thank you.